Hey guys, so this particular question says the structures of 6 organic compounds are shown A, B, C, D, E, F, and obviously we're going to be asked certain questions with regards to these compounds. Now, the way we've been going about such questions is that we identify the families each compound belongs to, right? And that makes us get the answers way quicker than doing donkey work. So we're not going to do donkey work, we're going to do smart work, right? And how do I identify which family each fellow belongs to? By looking at their functional groups. So if you check A out, A has the carbon-carbon double bond. Therefore, this fellow belongs to the alkene family. B also has the carbon-carbon double bond. So this fellow also belongs to the alkene family. They're unsaturated hydrocarbons. C has the COOH group of atoms, which is the carboxyl group of atoms. And this indicates that this fellow belongs to the carboxylic acid family or the homologous series, which is the carboxylic acids, right? And if you check D out, D has the OH group of atoms, which obviously indicates that it's an alcohol, right? Because all alcohols have a functional group that is OH group of atoms, right? Which is the hydroxyl group of atoms, but who cares? If you check E out and if you check F out, they're my good old fellas, they're my alkenes. Sir, how do I know they are my alkanes? Well, obviously they are saturated hydrocarbon. And something to notice about E and F is that they both have 4 carbons. This has 4 carbons. This fellow right here also has 4 carbons. So if you count out the number of carbons and hydrogens, they will sum up to C4H10. And this will also have a molecular formula of C4H10. But if you also notice, they have different structures. That's my meth, eth, pro, bute. That's my beautiful butane right here. But this fellow, that's not butane, right? How do you name this fellow? You select the longest unbroken carbon chain and then you start numbering from the side where the alkyl group is the closest. So CH3 is my alkyl group, the methyl group. It's present on the second carbon. And your longest carbon chain is meth, eth, prop, right? So that's my propane. And the methyl group, the CH3 group right here, the alkyl group is present on the second carbon. So it's basically called 2-methyl. On the second carbon you have the methyl group, so it's called 2-methyl propane. So they have different structures, right? And how do I know they have different structures? The names are different. If the names are different, you should automatically understand that they have different structures. Sir, why aren't you naming the others? Because I don't care, why would I just name them? And now I look at the requirements. If one of the requirements asks me about the naming, then I look into it. Other than that, there's no reason to name them, right? So it says give the name of F. So obviously F is meth, eth, pro, bute. It's a saturated hydrocarbon. It's an alkane. So obviously it's going to end with an A and E. So bute means 4 carbons. And because it's an alkane, it's going to end with an A and E. So that's my butane. Identify 2 of the compounds that are members of the same family, same homologous series, same family, and give the general formula of this homologous series. Which 2 compounds belong to the same family? Well, A and B belong to the same families. They are both alkenes and they have a general formula of CnH2n. And obviously E and F belong to the same homologous series. They are both alkanes and both have the same general formula, which is CnH2n plus 2, right? Where N indicates the number of carbon atoms. So you can either write A and B, or you could write E and F. So A and B, or you could write E and F. If you write E and F, obviously they are alkenes, so the general formula is going to be CnH2n plus 2. And if you write A and B, then the general formula is obviously going to be CnH2n, which means that the number of hydrogens are going to be twice the number of carbons. The number of hydrogens are going to be twice the number of carbons plus 2. Which 2 compounds are isomers of each other? Explain why they are isomers. So obviously we know which 2 compounds. We've already identified them. E and F are isomers because they have the same molecular formula, that is C4H10, but they have a different structural formula, and that can be indicated by the difference in their names. So it's your compound E and F, and the explanation is, well, they have the same molecular formula. You can't write MF, right? You write it completely. Molecular formula, that is C4H10, but different structural formula. Done? Let's just explain why B is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. Now, there are two things asked in these questions, therefore the 2 marks, right? Unsaturated, and it's also talking about hydrocarbon. What do we mean by unsaturated? Unsaturated compounds are compounds in which at least one carbon-carbon bond is not a single bond. And if you check B out, obviously the carbon-carbon bond is not a single bond, it's a double bond. So because it has a carbon-carbon double bond, or you could say not all the bonds are single bonds, you are gonna identify the fact that it's unsaturated, right? And why is it calling it a hydrocarbon? Hydro comes from hydrogen, carbon obviously comes from carbon. So hydrocarbon means compounds containing carbon and hydrogen atoms only. It has no other atoms. So yes, B has no other atoms. It only has carbons and hydrogens. So explain why B is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. Well, B has a carbon double bond, that makes it unsaturated. Carbon double bond. And what makes it a hydrocarbon? And it has carbon and hydrogen atoms only. Only is the keyword, right? It has no other atoms as such. And that's pretty much it. That's this question. That's the end. Yeah. See you guys in the next bit. Bye bye. Ciao.